Hello, hello, Otafest listeners. It's time for another episode of the Otafest podcast.
Woohoo!
With me today are Nancy and Jay.
It's me, and a J.
It's I.
And we're here to talk about anime.
Specifically, this season's anime.
Well, last season's anime, technically.
Oh, this past season's anime.
Summer season 2023.
Almost all of the anime we're going to talk about today have maybe one episode left in the season.
Well, we kind of restarted back a little bit late, so it's not too surprising. That being said, we have done our due diligence, as always, and have watched our single episode starter. But before we get too far ahead of ourselves, just a quick reminder to buy your weekend passes at the early bird price of $54 at otafest.com. That includes our service fee from the online ticketing website. So $54 for the whole weekend on Mother's Day weekend in May.
Remember, it sold out last year, so get on it.
Exactly. Speaking of getting on it, let's get ahead with this.
Let's get on it.
Yeah, you know how last season we were like, oops, all bangers? I am
And this
just
season
going to say, yeah.
Is not that.
Yeah.
Well, at least not the ones that were chosen anyway. It's entirely possible there was one that we didn't pick that ended up being super good.
No.
No.
It's
Jay's
impossible.
just like, no.
This season actually was pretty slow, all things considered. There's a couple great sequels going on this season. Things like Mushoku Tensei, for example. But for original anime, or for new anime, it was pretty sparse this summer.
Shallow.
Having that said, some of the stuff was pretty good. I, for one, absolutely love Zom 100, Bucket List of the Dead.
Which is the first one we're gonna talk about.
One of the funniest things about this anime is that Netflix specifically was so butthurt about not getting the anime rights to this anime that they went and made a live action that aired before the anime did.
Wow.
Imagine just having that money for that.
They started airing right around the same time, but of course Netflix just dumped everything all at once.
Revenge production? Which,
Just
you
about.
know, funny because we start off with literally a dude working at a production company. They don't specifically talk about what kind of production, but it's clearly like something that's television or film media.
Exactly. And I don't know if you guys felt it, but I feel like just about anyone can kind of relate. If you've had an adult job, there are days where it feels like it drags on forever. There are days where it feels like nothing is going right, where you never get home. You might be doing 2, 3, maybe 5 hours of overtime in a day.
Ugh.
And you feel like you're just going home only to wake up for work again the next day. And that's our boy's life for 3 years.
It's not a secret that, like, I say Japanese, I'm going to say Asian work culture
Not
is
good.
toxic and
Not healthy at all.
unhealthy and is basically capitalized.
Capitalist death sphere.
Yeah, capitalist
Hellscape.
self-harm, essentially.
It's capitalist hellscape, and dude, the MC just starts off this first episode explaining what it was like first job out of school, he worked so hard for this, gets to join like a dream job company, and I know that a lot of you are probably already thinking this sounds a lot like when people used to go to school and then come out and first thing they did was go and work for like a big video game production company. This feels very much like that, because dude basically says it, like, I worked so hard for this. This is my dream job. I should be lucky that I have it. And then he just quickly devolves into this zombie that just barely stays alive from overnight session to overnight session to overnight session. I think there were days where he like stayed multiple days at the office, like didn't even go home to shower.
Yeah, one of the
Yeah.
aspects, and this is like a thing in Asian work culture. So they'll be like, you have the company on the outside will look like a great place to work, not just because of the prestige of working for that company, because they've done so much stuff, they're really well known, really well connected, but they'll also be like, oh, yeah, we work you kind of hard and ask you for a lot with overtime and stuff, but we still offer you benefits and we still offer you vacation time.
Yeah, I love how
Fun.
they were like, we have unlimited sick days, but
Yeah.
I don't think I've ever seen anyone use them.
Fun fact, it is absolutely looked down upon if you take your vacation days in Asia.
Oh, absolutely.
Like here, you get your, 2 weeks, 3 weeks, whatever it might be, and you're supposed to use it. In fact, HR, usually at a lot of Western companies, they're like, use it now.
Yeah. Yeah, if you have a good manager, they should be getting on you about your PTO.
In Asia, it is basically, you are weak. How dare you actually use your benefits?
Yeah, your coworkers are so disappointed in you. You're letting us down.
Ugh. It's brutal.
That's the rhetoric, and it's really really sad because it works on people. It's this horrible guilt. He even says in that first episode, he's like, I can't quit because if I quit, my team will have to pick up my slack.
Yep.
It's a huge guilt trip.
It's interesting because in the show, in the first episode, basically you start with like a normal color palette, and then as his career progresses into 3 years worth of soul crushing overtime, it literally sucks the color out of the show.
It goes completely grayscale.
Yeah, perfectly grayscale, and then the apocalypse happens, zombie apocalypse, and he's free, and color starts coming back into his life, which is honestly saying a lot, and it's really sad if you really
That
think
is
about
saying a lot.
it. Yeah.
Not to mention, they very artistically hide some of the gore with splashes of color,
Yeah.
and I really enjoyed that bit of animation.
It's so good. It's such a gorgeous anime. You would think, oh, a zombie anime, that should be bloody and gory, and it is.
It is.
It is.
But they hide
But
it
at the same time,
tastefully.
it's so artistically done that you just like, you're looking at it and it's like, oh my god, look at these bloated, infecting bodies that are just like vomiting the parts of other people they've eaten. And this guy rugby tackles a dude off of a balcony.
boss,
Holy shit!
his dead
It
zombie
explodes and lands on
Yeah.
everything.
Oh.
Holy, this is. But I love to see it. Look how colorful it is.
It reminds me of, do you remember Kingsman, the first one?
Yes,
And then there's the
Oh, yeah.
ending scene where
everyone's head explodes into
Yeah.
glitter.
exactly, that's exactly what it reminds me of. I thought that was great.
Yeah, but it's just, it paints such a good picture of what working for a black company can be like, to the point where it is the only way to set up that the zombie apocalypse, where you no longer have to go to work, is now like the best sort of freedom you could imagine.
The best thing that could ever happen to you is that the apocalypse happened.
Yep.
That's where this guy was.
I
Sorry, go ahead.
love this anime. 100%.
I mean, you've watched a few more episodes than Nancy and I. I would say that off of the first episode, I'd be willing to give it a second episode, only because my strongest feeling about it is that I sort of hate that they almost really use like their good artistic direction to sort of, they almost hide in a sense the pervasive toxic culture because of the way that like they show like, oh, it drains your life, it makes it gray, it makes it sad. But I would almost make the point that because they make it monotonous, I know that they're visually trying to convey that, but it almost kind of hides the like, it's almost like a veil that covers the shittiness of that situation. Does that make sense? Like I think it goes both ways.
I think we can just summarize it by saying that their very artistic use of color and lack of color was a really lovely way to illustrate the tone and the mental state that he was in.
Yes. Off the top of my head, I don't think they really used that color shift since then, with the exception of maybe one episode, but overall, I would say that I've been watching this anime weekly.
Nice.
But that's a lie.
Have you tried watching it strongly?
The production of this anime has been so plagued with delays. It's supposed to be a Sunday anime, but it's almost always come out on Monday when it does
Weird.
come out at all.
Interesting.
And there were like multiple week periods where no episodes were able to come out at all, unfortunately.
Is it because that they're trying to follow their own like morals from this show and not crunch the show out?
I certainly hope
Could
so.
it be?
I certainly hope they are just pumping out the episodes late because they're having pedicure days in the office.
I
Hopefully.
sincerely hope that is the case. Oh boy.
I would, like I said, I would watch a second episode depending on the direction of where it goes and where it takes you. I don't think it's normally sort of my cup of tea. Like I at some point, I just don't care about zombies anymore, man. Zombies are done. They are very 2010 content.
I sincerely hope that like the zombie theme is actually not very pervasive in the show, but I don't know. I'd have to watch it another like 2 episodes and see.
Mm-hmm.
I really do like it. I really do like it. Basically, from here on out, each episode is a little bit episodic. It builds a little bit off of the previous episode, but it's basically, I want to have fun today doing this thing I've never done in my life. Like dining with cute airline attendants in the zombie apocalypse.
Weird.
I remember one of the things he said was, "Man, I was thinking about starting day drinking this weekend," or like something like that, and it was like, really?
That's also depressing.
That's what you have to look forward to? I was thinking about starting up a substance abuse this weekend, you know?
Every now and then, day drinking just hits the spot.
Oh, man. Oh, man. Okay, before we go down that, drinking-wise, how about being reborn as a vending machine?
I would rather not, thank you.
My God. I have to imagine some mangaka somewhere in Japan was like, I want to publish a manga. And their editor was like, it better be isekai because isekai is the only thing that's selling. What did you put in front of me? Standard fucking fantasy? Fuck this bullshit. If you don't have some goddamn nobody who gets hit by a truck and sent to another world, I don't want to publish it. And he's like, fuck you.
Deepest sigh.
And then
Dude.
while he's buying coffee, shitty coffee from a half-broken vending machine, it hits him. The vending machine falls off the wall and hits the mangaka, breaks his legs, and he stays inside for 5 months straight, drawing his magnum opus. Reborn. As a vending machine, I now wander the dungeon. Which becomes a fantastic anime.
I don't know about fantastic, but I mean
It is
that
the
first
dumbest thing I've ever seen.
that episode was Jay said it when he said that I can't believe it's only been 10 minutes.
Yeah,
I gave this anime
I kept on checking the
such
time, the
a
runtime.
solid try.
Why? Why the fuck would you do that to yourself?
Because
Maybe
I
it
heard
gets
it was
better.
unironically good.
Like,
And the best thing that I can say about it, is that you will only kind of regret the time you have spent watching it if you have literally anything else to do. If you're just really bored, if you've got nothing else going on, if you think that a plot about a main character who can only answer yes or no questions sounds like something you want to watch.
I
My
still
brother in
wouldn't
Weeb.
watch this.
My brother and Weeb, I need you to look at my calendar because it is so full these days.
Bro,
I
Then
have
don't watch
to
this
really.
anime.
No such. Look, I would rather die. If you told me that I had to watch this from beginning to end, I would truly contemplate my end, because there is no value in it for me. I watched it. I watched
But
that
it
first
teaches
episode.
you
Hold on,
about
Angela.
the story, the colored,
No.
storied history of vending machines.
No.
And at one point, it
No.
even talks about how you can get
No more talking. It is bad.
you can get
no more justification.
reproductive, preventative items from vending machines.
Bro, just stop. It is pathetic that you would try to defend it.
God, Isekai has gone too far.
Like, I don't care. It's not. I'm even going to say it's not satire. It's not a parody. Why?
It's not.
Because
it's
it's not.
100%
parody and
serious.
satire is entertaining. There's no tone. There's no undertone of it being entertaining, which is just. It's just bad. It's just poor. I can't believe I spent 20 minutes of my life. Like, I genuinely cannot. I am.
It's not a joke.
The worst part is, like,
The anime is 100% serious.
here's the thing. We've watched other things like X-Arm or whatever, and Cestus, and those were bad. I have no fucking, like, I have no patience for this show, because those other shows were actually just straight bad, and we could be like, get out. We're stopping watching this.
Whereas this at least had reasonable production values.
That's
Did it? I mean, it was okay. It wasn't
The characters
bad.
stayed on model. It flowed acceptably.
no,
was
it did
quite
not.
slow.
I checked the runtime twice. It did not flow acceptably. It was 10 minutes for 50 minutes.
It's just not good.
It's so bad. And the worst part, you know what the absolute worst part about this anime is? It does a disservice to fine vending machines all across Japan who don't
I
deserve
disagree.
this. You have never even
Maybe-
been to Japan. You don't know.
You're right.
That's
I
changing
haven't.
soon.
The closest thing the only reason why I can say vending machines in Japan are just unique, not good, is things like fucking Chris and Connor going to a vending machine
I don't know
museum
who
and
that
eating
is.
food out of every abroad in Japan and Sea Dog.
Cool.
Yeah.
They went to a vending machine museum and had food from every single vending machine. And they were neat, unique ideas, but the food was just consistently vending machine food.
Which, in Japan is actually a reasonable low standard. Even a regular ass milk tea that you buy out of a vending machine in Japan is going to taste way better than anything I could buy here out of a vending machine.
You buy it for $1.
Yeah, it's like
I
a
don't have
buck
any-
and it's
I don't have
great.
anything, like, no.
It's just good.
It's
But anyway.
slander against vending machines, and it's propaganda for vending machines, and it is the worst thing I have ever watched in animated form.
I think Jay's rage speaks volumes, so maybe let's move on.
I mean, I would argue that there might even be worse anime tonight that we're reviewing, but let us
yeah,
move
I
on.
mean-
There's nothing else to say about the show. You know what? I have decided I will introduce the next thing, because I am the Masterful Cat right now. And the
Are
Masterful
you
Cat
depressed again today?
is depressed again today. And that is me. I am depressed again.
God, this anime was simultaneously ridiculously cute, mind-bogglingly produced.
And infuriating at times.
Yeah.
And not
So-
the worst show.
And still not the worst show. So, okay, I didn't know this was a Go Hands thing until I was just like, is it just me, or is someone really just flexing like a shot on a drone style of shooting here? Because there's so many unnecessary shots of like a moving camera or a pan, and it's like fully CG animated panning, and Angelo tells me no, it's 100% like a Gohan's thing, and I was like, oh
Yes, the studio behind this anime, Studio Gohan's, is the most brain dead studio in the weirdest ways. They have the talent to make good looking things, and they apply it in the weirdest ways. They've done multiple animes. One is called Handshakers. It's pretty old. I want to say 3 or 4 years now. There was another anime that aired this season. And one thing that they always do, they will film, that's not the right word for it, it's anime. They will animate at such a very specific weird angles. Like they throw Dutch angles in, they throw low angles in. They are just here to try to flex and be like,
they're the Michael Bay of
I
camera
am the
angles.
master of 4-point perspective. And it's like anime with a fisheye lens. And it's so weird and so unsettling. Like, do I need a shot of an office lady
Yes.
walking to her friend's desk, shot from her heels clacking on the floor? Like, it wasn't even trying to be a panty shot. It wasn't even trying to be like sexy or anything. It was just trying to be, look at this. We're like 15-year-olds using the star wipe in PowerPoint. We're very cinematic, you see. And on top of that, all the 3D CG is like ridiculously shiny. Ridiculously shiny. I feel like Reboot in the 90s had more varied lighting filters and shaders than Studio Gohan's has. Everything they have has that super fucking bright high gloss like Gran Turismo or Need for Speed on the PS2. It is just so weird.
The most baffling thing about it for me, if it had been cleverly done, like if any of these establishing shots had anything to establish, it would have been nice. But there was these long drawn out shots of just like it looked like it was a drone looking down on a street, just like a random ass urban street.
Yeah, it didn't do anything for the story.
Or like
It didn't
the
even do
We
shot.
haven't even
the
talked
setting.
about the story.
Yeah, we haven't even talked about the story yet, so sorry. But like there was a shot in the fridge looking outwards at person looking into the fridge, and then there was the slow pan.
Yeah, that was the
and
Sunny
you're like,
D
why?
shot.
Why? Yeah, it was like the Sunny D shot.
You don't want
but
the,
like
I don't want the purple stuff. I want Sunny D.
it was just so strange. Anyway, so weird animation and flexing aside, I gotta disagree that one of the statements that was made in the first 10 minutes of this anime is that having a pet as a single person makes you unmarriageable.
Yes, they went on to say that. I'd never heard that in my life. There was this one office lady talking to the main girl, and she was like, "Oh, are you looking at getting a cat? You know that having a cat as a single lady makes you and all of us are just like,
person.
are you?
I find this offensive.
Yeah, who doesn't like having a cat?
Who would, especially a human-sized cat who makes you lunch, dinner, and breakfast, wakes you up on time for work, takes care of you, cleans the whole apartment,
Basically,
and like deliberately
prevents you
goes
from
out
being
of
a
their
shut-in.
way to find things to make for you that are nutritious and interesting and like fancy.
Yeah, it's secretly a food anime.
Yeah, secretly food anime. But I
because
think the
there was, like,
creepiest part about okay.
No, there was like the cooking show, like the weird cooking show where they basically
Cooking
took
with
like a
Dog.
real life cooking show and just added a weird filter on top to make it look it was like animated. But then all the food looks really good. It's definitely a food anime.
Yeah, it does look a bit like a secret food anime. But anyway, like the thing about the cat relationship with MC that I really don't love is the fact that the cat is like simultaneously their partner, their maid, their father. Like they're all these
Father?
things for her, and she doesn't deserve him.
No, like this cat is too good for MC.
A human who doesn't even deserve the cat. How sad.
Like when you are a cat owner, you are no longer the master of the house. You are the servant to this beast. You are its tenant. and it will climb up onto your lap sometimes and demand butt scratches. But beyond that, you are there to clean up its poop, feed it, and when it sleeps on your face, you're just supposed to accept it and breathe through its fur.
It is a blessing to be suffocated by cat.
Yes. And this anime is just like, what if the cat was the size of a bear, had the mannerisms of a yakuza, but was also a housewife?
Yep.
You know what the worst part is? It's not even my kind of show. I would rather watch a second episode of this over Vending Machine. I would absolutely, easily, I would pay money, not a lot, like 50 cents.
Honestly,
to make sure
when
I
the
watched
anime
the
wasn't
second episode
being
of this.
go-handsy, when it was just the cat and the main girl, like, kind of bouncing off of each other, it was kind of neat.
It was
I
fun.
was a little bit here for it. But I have no desire. This is one of the anime that I didn't touch until now, and I'm kind of glad that I didn't.
That says something. But you know what else I wish I really hadn't seen a first episode of? Saint Cecilia and Pastor Lawrence.
Oh my god. How can we pick so many bad anime?
This was basically Catholicism, the anime, but also you're not allowed to date the pastor.
And also, you're simping. You're a goddess who simps for the pastor. As I wrote here in my notes, if you've heard of Saint Seiya, get ready for Saint Simpa.
I was willing to give this a shot because everything, when we watched the trailer, it looked really cute. And I will stand by my opinion that the animation for this anime is ridiculously cute. I was getting diabetes from some of the animations of the main character. This
Cuteness is not enough.
This anime is like anime GIF City. You can just take any random, like, repeating anime of the main girl and just turn it into a reaction GIF, and it's fantastic.
I disagree.
But everything else about it is just so one note and boring.
It's incredibly bland.
It's not even a good romance anime. I think while Vending Machine anime made me angry, this one just really killed my desire to watch anime. If this is the direction that anime is heading. I'm like, if this became, I'm just saying, I'm putting it out there that if somehow this anime became a successful franchise spawning sequels and merch, I will actively give up anime.
I feel like if it was 2006 at the height of Moe Blob, this would have performed way better. And thank God it's no longer the Moe Blob era.
So, okay. I'm gonna draw a parallel to work life, Nancy, for a second here. In voice acting, a lot of the times, we talk about something called stakes. When you're performing a character, there need to be stakes. Why is this important to your character? Why are they saying it? What's the intent here? And why are you wasting words? You need there to be stakes, and you need to perform in a way that convinces the viewer/listener this character has stakes involved. No matter what that character is doing, there are stakes. There are no stakes to this episode.
Yeah, nothing mattered. There was zero important dialogue.
Something that we forgot to mention actually at the beginning of this is we watched this in English dub because
we did.
Get the
Yes.
Japanese sub to work. I don't think it really changed anything, to be completely honest. I think the
Probably not.
English voice acting was probably worse. I don't have
The
anything to compare
localization
to.
effort was not very good.
But I really don't think it would have changed the opinion of the show so much as it would have been slightly more pleasant to listen to. Potentially. We don't even know that for sure.
To paraphrase Hank Hill, you're not making Jesus better. You're making anime worse.
Yeah. Anyway, I think that sums up a lot of feelings on this.
But still, I might consider watching a second episode of this over Vending Machine.
Well, the thing about this is at least you cannot pay attention to it.
Yes.
You can have it on your second screen, be not paying attention to it at all. Maybe you even have it muted. And you can just look over and be like, oh yes,
Garbage.
cute green-haired girl.
There's a
Trash.
cute
Going
antic
on.
happening.
Crap.
At least I'm not looking at a vending machine right now.
Yeah, oh
This is
boy.
the best my life can possibly get after watching the vending machine, Adam.
But it wasn't all bad. Undead Girl
No.
Murder Farce wasn't
It
bad.
has the worst title.
Oh,
It has the
100%.
weirdest title. Correct.
I'm pretty sure I made this point last time. It is a missed opportunity to call an anime about a disembodied head to not call it Undead Girl Murder Face. Murder Farce? No. I feel like since the Royal Canadian Air Farce was on TV, they have owned that word. No other piece of media can use the word farce and be serious about it. I understand that they don't know. It's Japan. They don't know what the Royal Canadian Air Farce is. They're just like, oh, we opened up the thesaurus and we found a silly word for shenanigans. Oh, we can use that in the title and sound super cool. No, Japan, just no. Call it Murder Face, please. That sounds a little bit metal.
The animation was amazing.
The art style.
I
is
love the art
Fantastic.
style.
Fantastic action shots.
I would say-
Really loved it.
I would say that like I'm not someone who's like deeply into cinematography. The way I would describe that some of the scenes of how this show is animated looks like they almost did a live action, then they just animated over the live action, because that's how it looks. There's this real element of like cinematography that's not just present in the general like animation. There's something about it that reminds me of something like some classics, things like Kill Bill was mentioned, but
Yep.
also things like
Yep.
Seven Samurai. Like there's this one scene that it's a top down. It's just a walking scene. They're just doing some exposition, and it's the two characters, and you're just seeing them from bird's eye view, and they're just doing like a very simply animate, like from an animation standpoint, not like something beautiful like a Makoto Shinkai, like 1,000 frames per second kind of thing. But it is very effective in sort of just getting this verbal exposition done while these two characters are traveling, and it looks very classic film. And
Yeah. So I mentioned the Kill Bill stuff because of the specific use of split framing and like slide frames of people talking, but like as disembodied, almost comic book panels. And it very, very strong Kill Bill themes right there. And yeah, like Jay said, very cinematographic. It just very specific references to films of that nature. And it just really visually blew me away.
Now, I remember last time we were talking about this, I shamelessly criticized Japan for not having good mystery stories. And I still stand by that, because this is not really a good mystery story. It's actually more of a battle shonen with mystery elements.
Battle
There's something
shonen.
of a formula to this show. Each arc will be about 3 episodes, and in the first arc, it's more about introducing the actors involved. The second episode of the arc will be about going through all of the mystery, and then the third episode of each arc is usually a battle between main boy and whatever force is
Right.
found to be the whodunit.
I like that. I honestly liked the storytelling was fine.
It's pretty good. It works out. It's actually a nice balance of what is traditionally not very a very strong suit for anime to something that actually is something of a strong suit for anime, and it's in a style that I really love. The other thing that doesn't come through on the first episode is how big of a goofball the main characters are.
Oh, yeah. It seemed
That's
very
fine.
serious.
Well,
It seemed very, very serious.
I felt like there was a lot of room for character development anyways. Like, they already sort of tried to touch on it a little bit, trying to give you some exposition on, sort of the supernatural lore and where they come from, but it didn't really give you a lot about the character itself, like the motivations of the characters. So like I said, I think there was room to grow there anyway. So I'm glad to hear that there is that exposition later on. One of the things that kind of drew me in. So I do like supernatural type shows anyways. So this kind of is up my alley. I felt like I really liked the idea of the setting as a whole, where there's like the magic, the supernatural doesn't just like, it's not purely set aside in some like fantasy realm. It's or like it's not an isekai type approach. It's literally just like colonization and westernization exists alongside this Japanese era of development where they're sort of still bound to mythological deities and mythological beings in their everyday like setting. I thought
it is literally the 1800s,
yeah.
but if ghosts were real.
Yeah. And I'm okay. I'm actually really good with that. I like that I didn't try to separate it too much, or it's like, this is the spirit world and you cannot, like, you as a mere mortal cannot enjoy, like, or enjoy is probably not the right word, experience it. No, it's like, it's all integrated, and the storyline seems to weave
100%.
that way as well. So I think there's a lot more to, like, thank God this was the last thing we watched, because it saved.
We ended on a high note.
It was such a high
It
note.
saved the night.
It's probably my favorite thing that we watched tonight.
Really?
Yeah.
I
Of
mean,
the whole
while we were
night.
watching it, you weren't really all that about Zom 100, but I'm actually kind of surprised that Murder Face is above Bucket List of the Dead for you.
Oh, Murder Face.
Yeah.
I like them both, but I'm definitely more of a Zom 100 fan than a Murder Face fan.
I don't know. I think a lot of it just has to do with the art style. Like I said, the art direction.
That's fair.
Like, it really, not that the art style in Zom 100 is bad. It's just a different, it's like Zom 100.
They're very different
It's
tones.
completely like, it's like pop art, like it's kind of modern, contemporary cinematography approach. Whereas Murder Farce, God, I hate the name, is just like, it just hits all these really cool classical tones that you can source the inspiration from, like Chainsaw Man did. I haven't watched all of Chainsaw Man, but I know that Chainsaw Man really did pay homage to a lot of famous scenes and sources from other media. So, like, that kind of stuff always hits. I don't know, just something. It's cool to be original, don't get me wrong, but I also just like it when they're like really hit the tone of those classics.
I mean, because Murder Face does that kind of sets it apart from a lot of anime.
It's true.
Like, because animating from off angles or different angles or cinematic angles is hard, like, there's a reason that Studio Gohans tries to flex in that way, and there's a reason why it's nauseating when Studio Gohans does it. But whereas Undead Girl Murder Face does it well in a way that just feels a little bit refreshing. It feels like it's trying to take the viewer seriously,
It's true. But I think as bad as or how varied our choices were this season, there's something there for everyone, especially if you have trash taste.
Oh,
I have nothing else to add to this.
I feel like you are going to anger more than a handful of vending machine fans.
Oh no.
Because there are people who will legitimately stand by the vending machine anime being better than you would think it is.
That's
I
okay.
might give it a try. Like,
Oh
just
my
just to
God.
say, I might watch like another episode just to see where it actually goes, if it goes anywhere. I do find that first episode to be quite flimsy, though. Like, if that was all I was gonna give it as a chance, I probably wouldn't keep watching.
I
But
watched 4 episodes and then I forgot that it existed.
I mean, you made it 4 episodes in. Honest
I have
try.
really low tolerance for I mean high tolerance for bullshit in anime.
That
do.
that much is clear.
Yeah. I watch a
do.
lot of bad anime.
I used to.
You make it your pastime.
I think I've mentioned this before. I used to do probably the most regrettable thing in terms of like wasting my time. I used to like swear that I would watch the entire series if I started it, and I did that
Oh.
for like I did that for
No way.
years, and it was just
Mm.
oh my God, why? Because you don't
I
know
no
any
longer
better.
give things the 3-episode test. I do not have time for the 3-episode test anymore. I will decide if I
to.
want to watch things after 1 episode, but I will also drop anime even if I'm like 6 or 7 episodes in.
Interesting.
If I just really don't feel like it anymore. Like there were 2 other anime this season that I just dropped just because I really don't care.
That's fine. And it's
And-
okay to
and
do that.
I
Yeah.
feel like my life is better for it. One of them was this villainous anime called Last Tame, and it was just the main character was so infuriating. It's an isekai. It was a girl who got isekai'd into the villainous of a shoujo visual novel.
Uh-huh.
And in doing so, she was like, "Oh my god, I'm the villainess. I'm gonna be this evil person and I'm gonna die for it." So every single action that she's taken since being reincarnated is that of a fucking saint. Except every 2 or 3 episodes, she's like, "And if I ever turn into a horrible, horrible witch of a queen, please kill me." And I'm just like, no one even thinks about you. Just no. If you even want me to have any kind of emotional attachment to this, you have to be kind of a villainess. Instead, you're just annoying.
Yeah, it tracks.
Yeah. So that's another bad isekai this season.
Oh boy,
Oh.
another bad isekai.
Glad we didn't pick that one.
Thank God there's Mushoku Tensei for me to get my good isekai fix. Ugh.
I don't believe you.
And with that, I think it's a good spot to leave off.
Yes.
I think I'm a worse
Yes.
I'm a worse person than I was when I first started this.
Wow. That's
I think we're all
pretty
a
rough.
little worse off today.
Until next time, folks.
Goodbye.
Take care.
Goodbye.